annoying. Okay, according to what I see, we are officially live. So that's exciting. Everyone, I apologize that we are late. It is not my fault.
My fault.
Kwaku did, for some reason, decide to delete his Hangouts, even though he knew he'd be back on my channel at some point. So I just find that retarded. Why did you delete your Hangouts?
It's a protest against Google.
Well, we've got to keep using the platform until it no longer serves us.
Mm.
Don't you think that makes more sense?
No. So I'm not really a fan of the whole Google YouTube space. They collect way too much information on you.
Oh no, I agree with that actually.
Yeah, and also the fact that YouTube's like at the forefront of all the platforming and stuff makes sense. And yeah, I'm generally disorganized.
Well, this is a big reason why sometimes I battle against the word libertarian, because the libertarian attitude means that you just allow others to do what they got to do. You do you, and I do me. Google's doing them, and it's totally imposing on our freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. But that's a different subject. But Google is
not really.
Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, the way that I really view libertarianism is more having
you're a libertarian
option. Yeah, of course. So it's allowing people to self-determine. So it's not as in everyone can do whatever. It's trying to remove the limits, or the blockages for people to determine their own existence.
Are you visiting your grandmother? I love the curtains.
I picked it myself.
Very nice. I love it.
Mm.
Okay, cool. So I was hanging out with your ex-girlfriend on the weekend. Did you see that? Just kidding.
What ridiculous. No, I haven't seen it yet, but obviously I'll have a guess. What live? Is it on your videos?
I did a live with her, yeah.
Ooh,
it was funny. Anyway, so the subject today is censorship, and obviously you just said something that was relatively relevant to the discussion, and that is that you don't like using Google. The reason you deleted your Hangouts and the reason you don't have a Google account or anything is because you're trying to, in your own small way, boycott that. Do you reckon that's what we all need to be doing? Is that the best, I suppose, antidote to this draconian business? It's not even government at the moment, it's businesses doing it. Google is a business, YouTube is a business, and they are trying to silence us.
Yeah, so I'm doing a bit of I have Wikipedia open as well, so I don't say the wrong thing, obviously. But Google, obviously a massive company, because they own YouTube, own the Android platform, Gmail, all these products, and if you end up using all their Google services, give me a second. I've just clicked on a list of Google services. They obviously get all the information from that. So they've already admitted and they're public about the fact that they scan all Gmails and stuff so they can sell Google ads to you and all that sort of stuff. So
all that pornography that I watch, that they're aware of it.
Well, mate, I was told. I was on a meeting with the Google CEO and he told me about you. Yeah, so it's for mine, if you're going to have an Android phone or if you're going to use YouTube a lot or if you're going to do whatever, they're going to have a very strong profile on you, as are Facebook, as are all the online social giants. So I don't know, I'm less comfortable about big data, big tech than I think most people have a natural suspicion towards Zuck or Google or anyone having all that information about you.
They do, as well. They should have that suspicion.
Especially after last year, they had the whole, Cambridge Analytica thing, and yeah, there's been a bit of scandal, but only I think the biggest problem in that space is it's not really regulated. So
it isn't regulated, and what is regulated is us, and that's just not right.
So what are your thoughts on the more recent? What the thing that excites me is the more recent things that happened with like weird deplatforming, because it seems like it's an escalation on what was. Do you remember how like people on YouTube will all of a sudden get like demonetized and they wouldn't know why and they won't explain it, and then they'd have all that sort of stuff? But now it's even more extreme. Now it's going across like Facebook, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. And I find that, I don't know, I just find it's getting more aggressive, don't you reckon?
It's absolutely more aggressive. Are you okay? You don't have the same.
No. So I'm crook. I was feeling crook as well. And I just drove
Everyone, he's crook. Give him
3
some
hours.
love. Send him some good vibes. Poor little
Calm
Kwaku.
down. Yeah, I went to that winery walkabout festival over the weekend. I think just got back.
How was it?
How was it? Exciting, eventful. Yeah. I'm just having a look here. Do you have Waze?
Do I have waves?
Waze, WAZE.
No.
That's Google as well.
No, I don't have that. I have other platforms. Well, what do you use? Do you use Bing? What's your search engine that you use?
No. Sorry? So I use something called Startpage or DuckDuckGo. So Startpage is basically the same results as Google, but it's private. So they only take the search query. They don't take all the metadata with it. So if you go to like startpage.com and do a search, the same stuff that you'd get on Google would be there, but it wouldn't take like your location, your computer, just all the metadata collection that Google does. And then Google would pass it on to all the websites. There's like third-party tracking and stuff. Yeah, but I don't think that's as interesting as, like, if I was to put you, how do you think the future for, say, anything center-right or more right of center is going to be in a sort of social media aspect, if you're going to be putting forward, like, people can't put forward those opinions anymore because there seems to be a lot of like deplatforming and demonetizing.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm a little bit distracted. So how do I think it's going to go because of
So with all the recent
well, that all started because of I mean, it was already on the verge of happening, but what pushed it forward was that guy from Vox that put a hate campaign against Steven Crowder, saying, "Oh, Steven Crowder picks on me because I can't handle a couple of words." And do you remember that? Yeah.
No. So, for mine, when I started noticing it, I noticed it on YouTube.
Oh, it happened before that.
And then
but that was
Christchurch,
the more recent one.
The Christchurch thing seemed to be like not a catalyst, but like the reason they were waiting for. And also, Facebook has been doing a lot of that rubbish as well, where you're just, obviously, if you haven't been to Facebook jail, you're just lame.
Oh, I've absolutely been on Facebook jail.
Yeah, so it's just it's almost like the Christchurch event gave all the opportunists who've been waiting for to sort of silence their I don't know, not opponents, but the voices they don't like, and they just went mad after that. So like the one that annoyed me was, say, like Candace Owens, and I think she put something.
Oh yeah, that she's somehow a part of it. Yeah, and PewDiePie was also mentioned. Blair was also mentioned, and these people had never ever had one level of interaction. Like that's just been proven.
The problem, I think, this whole space is problematic, but the issue is, like, so if you say you have, say, YouTube, Twitter, why am I drawing a mental blank here? If YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and they all seem to be teaming up together and deplatforming and removing
they're removing far right content, so all the Hitler stuff, and they're getting rid of anything that they deem to be extreme.
Yeah, so but as a collective, they make up, just has a guess, like say 95% of the discussion online, apart from stuff like Quora and, you know, these newer ones like MeWe and stuff and Gab or whatever. So if they say that you're not allowed to be on there, where are you meant to be? So it's almost like just because they're private companies and their services, if they become ubiquitous, it's then you can't just kick people off, because it's almost like our an electrical company or a water company being like, sorry, we didn't like how you use that, we're not going to provide you with electricity, and all of them saying they wouldn't do that. So there's a certain sort of like outcasting that's like, I don't know, I need to think about the words, because it's not just like a private company getting to choose who uses its services, because ordinarily, like my instinct is private companies should be able to choose how they manage their companies. But these are services and products that almost everyone uses, and they're also really important for society, because like elections and stuff are won and lost on social media campaigns. If you can't get exposure online with, so like for example, you can't put your ideas forward on YouTube, where are you going to put them?
Exactly. That's why there are too many alternatives, which is the thing. So I'm now on Telegram, and I'm now on
Telegram's a terrorist one.
Sorry?
Telegram's a terrorist.
Oh, the Russians? Because of the Russians?
No, apparently ISIS are like all into Telegram.
I don't know. I don't even know if you should say that word, to be honest. No, I don't. It's just because I don't want to be deplatformed anytime soon. So I'm trying to tread as carefully as possible for as long as I can. But
you're absolutely gone. I don't even know why.
Who knows? Yeah, I'm a racist. I'm far right. I hate black people, even though I have them on my channel.
Do you know? So I was thinking about this.
I had Jesse Lee Peterson on my channel. Sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah, Mr. Amazing. No, so have you heard that first day?
It's amazing.
Have you heard that first day came poem? So I thought that was quite relevant. Like first they came for the I've got it in front of me, so it's like first they came for the socialists. I didn't speak out because I was not a socialist. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that. So wait, where's that from?
So when the Nazi Party took over in Germany, they started like group by group getting people, so like the blacks or homosexuals or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, the Down syndrome people. Yeah, I've seen the footage.
And there's a famous poem called First I Came. If you just Google it, it'll come up. And it's like, first I came for the socialists. I didn't speak out because I wasn't a socialist. And it's trade unionists, then the Jews, and then the final one just saying, then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So for my I think that was quite relevant, because you'll have all these leftists cheering, going, yeah, get rid of another right-wing opinion, and they think that's a good thing. Some of it is effective and good, because it was reported that they got rid of like the flat Earth content, which is.
But they also deleted and burned books. They were burning books. So then the National Socialist Party was doing exactly what Google's doing now. Hey, I can't hear you. Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. No. There's a good element, because they're getting rid of like the absolute rubbish, like flat Earth. So like flat Earth is just ridiculous. It's not even like.
It is ridiculous, but if they want to think that, they can think that. If people want to deny climate change, they can do that. I don't have it. Don't have a say on that subject. But if people want to believe that Hitler's a hero, they can believe that. That's all fine. But like,
yeah. But
good ideas and bad ideas deserve oxygen. Sorry, keep going.
No, sorry, I interrupted you actually. But those ideas, like say, if you think there's good elements of like Nazism or whatever, that's one thing. But flat Earth can literally be proven to be wrong by like physics. So flat Earth stuff.
Photos of the Earth.
Flat Earth is like so misleading. So if there are people who say, I don't know, live in some like Amish people, for example, or something, who don't have access to. This is a really terrible analogy. I'm going to backtrack.
My family's
Amish. No, but that's it. Some of this stuff is just completely incorrect and unfactual and can be harmful. But stuff that is historical, like removing, say, like things because they don't, like stuff like climate change, for example, it's the science is in, but how we interpret the science and how we deal with it.
They're alternative facts.
Open. Yeah.
Autism is caused by.
Vaccines cause autism.
Thank you. Yeah, and that may be true. I don't know. It's not a subject I care about or touch. But long story short, you're saying that facts can be misconstrued, misinterpreted, and yeah.
There's things that are just proven. So like flat Earth is definitely false, and it can be demonstrated straight away, even without even looking at it, just through basic maths, physics, and stuff. It's also, if you look at like all the other planets, they're all not flat. It's just ridiculous. But yeah,
But you're saying then that it's okay to stop. Are you saying it's okay to stop that part of
yes,
free speech?
I'm saying that there's good elements of this mass censorship.
Well, then you're not a libertarian.
No.
Libertarian, thy name is not Kwaku. You can't call yourself a libertarian and say it's okay that, even though you're right about the flat earth not being a flat earth.
So if you put out information that is completely false and harmful, you could interpret the libertarian view as you're not allowing someone to maximize their freedom because you're misleading them in a way. I don't know. I'm not sure of I'd have to reflect on the proper libertarian position on that, but just things that are just completely factually incorrect. I'm comfortable with it being removed by private companies, but there's also that issue with you know how YouTube don't even explain when they demonetize people.
Yeah, I do know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then there becomes this whole element. It's almost like the
I was never earning money with YouTube anyway. For me, it was all about the message. So win-win.
It becomes like, like the Stasi or like the SS Secret Police, where people are so scared that they start self-censoring themselves because
I am doing that. I am self-censoring.
Yeah, and that's also,
I am doing that.
I reckon that's another very highly disappointing thing, where people start self-censoring themselves.
Well, you kind of have to. If you want, you have to sort of maneuver the system to be able to still get the message across by using different words. I think that's okay, as long as I think there's still dignity in that. So F off. No, I'm kidding.
No, but it limits people. Say you.
It just has to be said a certain way.
You're trying to think in. People are trying to have like intellectual conversations, trying to solve the problems of the world. But at the same time, they've now got to allocate mental space and thinking space to not saying the wrong thing and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly, and, that's true as well.
We'll avoid, say, dangerous ideas, and I'll avoid whole sections of ideas just out of fear of being deplatformed or whatever like that. So, and also, it will make the world. Say you're born today. And if this continues with all these large companies just removing alternative views just willy-nilly, everyone's going to obviously have left-wing views, or the majority of people. And it's also probably going to make people more hostile to anything, even centrist, because they're so conditioned to thinking that anything sort of right of center is hate speech, and that hate speech, the whole hate speech space is, for mine, it's just the most ridiculous concept of all time.
It is, and also there's so much double standards in it. I did a video called "Nationalism versus Civic Nationalism." It's the best. Yeah. The best. Did you watch it?
It popped up. It's
good, wasn't it? Come on.
No. On my list.
It's pretty damn good. It's actually one of the best. It's one of the best edited videos. It's one of the best scripts I've ever written, and I've gotten really, really good comments on it privately. Yeah. Like one person, whom shall remain nameless, Margaret, said it was the most boring video I'd ever made, but most people liked it. Most people said it was great. And in it, I basically say that supremacy is it. So if you consider yourself an ethno-nationalist or whatever it may be, you are automatically deemed to be a supremacist, and that's not necessarily true. But if you're a Black Lives Matter, you're a feminist, which is another form of supremacy, that's seen as noble. So, it's like, how does YouTube define it? And they don't really define it. They just go off the changing attitudes of people getting offended. Yeah, so that's how they define it. They're defining it based purely on the attitudes of the left.
Do you reckon it's, so I think I watched a Joe Rogan on this when he brought on, I think it was like,
you like Rogan.
It was like the CEO of Twitter, and he grilled him on why some things stay and some things don't. It was like, for example, I remember what's his name? Oh crap. The one that hates Jews. He's like black, famous church. Farrakhan, Muslim guy.
Oh, okay.
He's
I've
like.
heard of him.
Give me a second. I'll just quickly. So he's like.
Sorry. Can you hold your thought? I got a super chat. What incentive do the left have to support free speech unless we start censoring them? It's a question.
What incentives they have to support free speech? Well, first of all, I think the question has to be like some sort of utopia, because it seems all YouTube, Facebook, all those guys are all leftists anyway. And they have so much dominance that it's not like there's going to be any sort of right of center company. But I think once you start grouping, when you go left, right, and you think about them as a collective, that sort of, I don't think that's the best approach, because I know a lot of leftists that are like actually really switched on and understand the, excesses that, the real like leftards do. So there are a lot of stuff like freedom of speech, stuff like allowing others to express themselves, these really core tenets of good society and philosophy and stuff. They're not exclusive to right of center views or centrist views, obviously. This isn't like, it's not like all leftists are retards and all conservatives aren't. But I think that within even the leftist movements, you have like, say, you have your feminists, your environmentalists, your anarchists, and all that sort of stuff. It's not monolithic. It's not like a homogenized group.
But it can never be monolithic. The left seems monolithic, but they're better at hiding it at the front, whereas we on the right are not.
I think it's the identity with either victimhood or it's progressivism for mine is funny, and this is a slight tangent, but it's almost like if you're saying they want to make the world a better place, so what seems to be the sort of the most positive way that you can see it. They want to drastically and radically speed up the change so that we can have a better place. So it's like feminists.
But they do it through tribalism.
Tribalism is probably an aspect, not like the it is my opinion, not the.
You've seen it. You're the one telling me the stuff that's happening on the leftist pages. I don't read them anymore.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Why?
You're my knight in shining armor, or my white knight, or my black knight, I should say.
Oh, racist! No.
Racist. I'm a racist.
I'm being smart, but it's almost like I don't get the whole how this intersectionality thing. So you'd have like the feminist team up with like the blacks, with the gays, with the disabled, and all that sort of stuff, and they have the whole victim Olympics thing, where it's like this person is more victimized or whatever.
I have scoliosis. Well, I have polio. Well, I fell off a horse and I'm a quadriplegic. I win. Yeah.
And I swear, even like the more like the non-hysterical left-wing thought people they get it. They see that there's, some of the ridiculous feminists or the ridiculous over-the-top, Black Lives Matter type of stuff as well. So a lot of them can see it's inconsistent, but I think that they silence each other through the criticism. So, when there's all that hysteria about something, if you're on their side, and you see them getting really hysterical, like, that's hate speech, we need to do this, that, and the other. It's probably harder to stand up and be like, no, I think we've gone a bit too hard on something if you're in the group, because you might fear that you'll be ostracized. I just want to get back to what I said earlier about Louis Farrakhan. He's a Nation of Islam guy, and he's a black nationalist.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
He used to write all this like really hardcore anti-Semitic stuff on Twitter, and he would never get taken off, or Facebook. He'd never violate these standards. Like, he'll say
because
Jews are parasites and all this stuff like that. And I think, from memory, Joe Rogan brought it up with them, or he brought it up on his show a couple of times, saying like, it's so ridiculous how, as an example, learn to code. If you said that would get like pulled off like Twitter.
Oh, really?
It was like a gag. It was like this learn to code thing. So like for example, like a bunch of miners all got made retrenched, or truck drivers, like 60-year-old ones, and people like learn to code because coding the future, like, and they took it as to be like an offensive thing. This is my interpretation of it, because it's like, when you say that to like someone who's 60, who's worked as a truck driver for 40 years or something, you're not actually saying he's going to go to computer university and learn to actually code. So it's like, but it became like this weird thing where people were getting kicked off and banned for saying that because it was seen as aggressive. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, this whole space is just bizarre. Yeah. Are you surprised that you didn't get heat from YouTube after that last scandal, the church scandal? Or should I not bring that up?
It never happened on my channel. That's the thing. People think it didn't happen on my channel. People think like even Neil said that I was using him for views. He said I was older than him. I'm 2 years younger than him. I know you know, but just a lot of unnecessary things were said, and I don't hide behind it. Like, I made a mistake, I misjudged, but yeah, I didn't. I was there, and my idea was to go there and to listen to what they said, and then to do a video review after. It was my idea. But what wasn't my idea was to do it live. What wasn't my idea was the approach that was used. And I actually, everyone was saying, don't apologize to them, don't apologize to them. And I didn't publicly apologize to anyone because it was no one's business. I did privately apologize to them. And that's up to me, God, and the way I felt towards them specifically. It had nothing to do, like, I've released a video. It was a clarification as to what happened.
I saw that.
Yeah. I threw nobody under the bus, despite the fact that people said he said I threw him under the bus. I didn't. I was very clear. I was very polite. I don't hate the guy. I think he has good intentions, but his approach is just not my approach.
Ericsson has got good intentions. By the way, I'm not judging him. I just want you to clarify that, because there's a lot of
I don't think he's. I don't really want to talk about it, but I think he gets carried away and he gets caught up in the heat of the moment, and his adrenaline must be, and then it's just like, now I'm doing this for this. But it's like, you can't call a group of people sodomites, degenerates, and all of that when you yourself are not pure of sin. Like, you yourself are a sinner. I'm not saying him specifically, but we're all sinners. I know you know what I mean. I know you're an atheist, but I know you know what I mean by that. We're all sinners. So you can't walk around saying to people, you're this and you're that. That's just not the right thing to do, because I would never say that to a gay person, and I never have. I love all people, despite how much people on the left like to actually come at me specifically, individually. I would never do that to them, and I won't. I still won't. Like, it doesn't matter how much they keep attacking me and me personally. I won't do that to them, just because I do have that bar. I made a mistake. I don't know what more they want from me. I made a mistake.
That was, for mine, I was quite fascinated by that whole thing.
Debacle?
So for mine, like, so you're at the start of one of Neil Erickson's videos. You're showing.
Yeah, it wasn't on my channel. I wasn't using him for views. It was more like he hijacked my idea, and it ended up being for him.
But it was weird because, like, so on all their left pages, they were almost, there was obviously, I'm not sure how much of it you were reading.
What they did was illegal.
I remember you told me that you're avoiding some of those pages. Like
I've been avoiding the pages. Yeah, I don't look at them anymore. But like, to go at someone, to give someone else who has nothing to do with me and give them 1-star reviews, and to call them, that's essentially a doxing what they did. But it's okay. Like, I'm getting an income now. I'm not telling anyone how or in what way I'm getting an income, but I'm doing pretty good, and I have so much more freedom because it's unconventional. So I'm good. Like, what they did actually ended up benefiting me, and I have more time to do conferences and to sort of get my voice out there and travel.
I found it really bizarre. So I obviously I follow a lot of like left-wing pages as well, just to try
I know you do, because you're my hero on them.
So I found it really bizarre. Like, I went on a few of their pages, and the absolute vitriol, hatred, spitefulness that they're putting towards you.
Yeah, and I just don't hate them the way they hate me.
Like,
Yeah.
It's not like even like, it's not
Doesn't
even
make
like
sense.
me thinking, oh, you know, they're attacking my friend or anything. It's like,
But
these
they're acting
people
like
are
I personally
celebrating.
went out. Yeah, it's like I personally murdered their dog.
Yeah. Just for
Yeah.
being on site while Neil Erickson went full retard in a moment. Like, it was,
And I
I don't know.
happened to enable it. And they're not wrong. I enabled bad behavior. They're not wrong. But like, just lay off. Like, what am I doing to you personally? I'm trying to like, you know, be happy and be productive and move on and, you know, pray for them. But they just, you know, I don't know. It's okay. They can keep trying.
The strange thing also was like the inconsistency. So it's like, we don't agree that
they're inconsistent.
Dia did something, so we are going to target her employer, a third party, and we're going to harass her employer
until he does this. Yeah.
So actually, they don't agree with what Neil did, so they're going to target not you, your employer, and harass them until they do something to you to punish what Neil did, which is bizarre. But then also,
it's moronic thinking. And he didn't want to let me go. He didn't technically let me go. He gave me the option to stay. He said, "Do you want to stay?" He goes, "But if you stay, it's on these particular conditions." And I was like, "Look, I have something else pending anyway. This is just fast tracked it, so I'm out." So I was on the verge of leaving that job anyway, and that it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I wish them the best. I wish all those lefties the best, because I think there's something wrong with them. They must be really sad if they're acting like I personally did something to them, whereas the guilty party, okay, I did something wrong, but like, was I the only one doing something wrong? Do you know what I mean? And I've already acknowledged it. Well, what more can I do? And I can't. It's just that they're angry people, and they are lacking value and depth and substance in their life, whereas I'm not. I'm very happy with my life, and they don't have God. I do, so I'm happy.
Yeah. There was a certain page I was targeting you, the one about, you know, the car and parking. I'm not going to give them a free plug. I don't mind that page.
Don't read it.
They're controversial and they're scandalous as hell. So I get a bit excited when I see something controversial. But it was over the top. It was real personal. It was like almost like an organized character assassination. And for mine, I was like, they kept justifying it. So on their page, I'd make commentary like, it's not really tolerant if I put it to them, they're bullying you basically. And they're like, no, well,
they were bullying me, but
she associates with Nazis and hate speeches and stuff like that. But it's that whole, and I hope I don't get it wrong, but it's one of my favorite sayings. I hope it's Nietzsche, where it's he who fight, be careful. No, the thing about fighting monsters, when fighting monsters, take care not. Oh, give me 1 second. I'm going to bring it up because I don't want to get it wrong.
Okay. I'm just going to give a shout out to a friend of mine in the chat room. Hello, Will Joseph. Love you, Will Joseph. You're one of my favorite people, Tammy Candy, and I love you.
He says that to everyone.
I've never said that to anyone. He's the only person I've given a shout out to.
Okay, so there's it's Nietzsche who said,
"Oh yeah, I have heard of that guy." Yeah.
Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process you do not become a monster. And when you look into the abyss also looks into you. It's from beyond good and evil. So they're saying that they're trying to get you for apparently hate speech and targeting you, but in the process they're obviously becoming the monster that they were, that they think you are. And I found, that was like the most at front of thought for me when I was thinking about this whole process. I just couldn't get it, like these Brisbane Antifa, and also the weird thing to think that Queensland, there's a bunch of Antifa people in Queensland. It's like, even stick to your local ground. Like, where's Victoria Antifa in this? What do they do? Why is Brisbane Antifa taking the lead on this?
I think they just take the lead in the online world. I don't think they are in the online world of Australia. I don't think they take the lead specifically. Like, I don't think they're instructing Melbourneers what to do. But again, I don't know.
They were like really coordinated. I remember after like the first video, obviously they're like, bring this company in, tell them this is where she works and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, guys, this is just the internet. Someone's putting opinions forward. You don't go after someone's personal networks and lives. But that's maybe a radical thought process.
Yeah, but see, that's an extremist behavior, to go after someone's boss or livelihood or whatever it may be. I would not do that to a leftist. If I found out tomorrow that one of the leftists that hated me with a passion and who does a lot of things that I disagree with publicly, politically, and they made a mistake that's similar to the one I made, and I found out they were at a cafe right near my house, I wouldn't do anything. I would leave them alone. I would, but I don't. They and I don't have the same moral standing. They operate on a very different. I think their mentality is, we need to get rid of these people to make the world a better place. I think they think they're doing good, but what they're actually doing is really not good. It's quite nasty.
I agree with the sentiment on that for sure. I think it's almost like, when they say give me a moment. It's like, if you think you're doing something good, you almost, or if you think your purpose is righteous and all that, you almost can't see any harm that you do. So, for example, if you think you're trying to save the world by like doing whatever, I can't think of an analogy right now because I always come up with really bad analogies. You know this, but you'll overlook the harm that you're doing on a purpose, almost like an ends justifies a means thing. But
did you read the article I sent you, the Oz Protectionist Party wrote, where they said that you're a smart African from Gaza? Ghana.
I said
Gaza, but I don't know why I said Gaza.
No, I was trying to actually read it on censorship stuff at the time. I wanted to know, where do you think the line is on this? So obviously, I don't think that we should personally attack someone for having an opinion. Say they believe in climate change. I don't think you should ring up your work and be like, whatever. But obviously, if someone was spreading like ISIS stuff, would you then think that you should take action? So that's an interesting thing. I wanted to get your position on where you think the line is, because it's obvious that we can't just. It's noble in some sense to go after people who spread hateful or harmful messages. Not that I'm saying you do that. I only
do that in private with you.
No, but do you think that do you think that there's any sort of that these sort of Antifa takedown things where they coordinate and character assassinate people like they did to you? Do you think that would you think that is appropriate? With what type of behavior?
What type of evil?
Like, say for example, like what Neil does. Do you think that it would be fair if they did that to him? I don't think it would be either.
No, it wouldn't be fair. As I said, Neil is very passionate, and then he gets very there's adrenaline there in the moment, and then I think it's just he's too far gone. You can't stop someone once they're in that zone. I don't think he's an evil person. I just think he's
no.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I think the only time I think what Antifa or what the left does is an appropriate act is if the police don't maybe do anything. And I say this very loosely because I haven't thought about it enough. But if someone has done something really evil, if you know for a fact that the guy down the road raped someone's niece or something, and the cops aren't doing anything because that guy is a cop and he has protection or something like that, then I think it's then I think it's good that the neighborhood watch, or that, like, what I like, I suppose, if I'm to compliment the left, and that's I can do that. I'm physically and emotionally capable of giving credit where credit is due. Where they can't do that for me, that's fine.
You're not.
What they do well is this community that they have, and so I'm the bad guy. I did something wrong, and then they came up against me. If I was looking at that as an outsider, believing with all my heart that what I did was so evil that it deserved like the response that it got, I can see that from the perspective that if they did that for a really proper reason, and this cop did something really evil to this little girl, and it's just wrong, and everyone gathered together and somehow worked a campaign to be like, okay, the cops aren't going to do the right thing, so we'll have to do the right thing. I can see some sense in how that's good. Yes. So I suppose that there's some sort of argument for where that could be of value. And I'll give credit to the left where it's due. There are things that the left believes that I'm probably okay with as well. Like there was a story that was circulating about a lesbian couple.
Ooh.
No. Like it was a bad story. It's like these 4 teenagers treated this lesbian couple really horribly. They were like, "Turn us on. We want you to do this."
Oh, yes. I saw the caption.
I saw that. Yeah. And so I defended the lesbians because the lesbians did the right thing by objecting to these 4 teenagers by saying, well, F off. We don't want to turn you on and kiss.
Really?
And so it ended up being, a bit of they ended up getting physically hurt. And then people on the right got angry at me. And I'm like, well, if I'm supposed to be far right, then shouldn't I be one of the people getting angry at myself for protecting the gay couple in that story? It's really retarded. Like, no one. I think everyone knows I'm not far right. It's literally my associations that have unfortunately resulted in that thought. But I know I'm not far right, and I'm far right with one thing, and that's my opinion on abortion. I'm as right as you can get with that.
I don't even think that's a right-left thing. So.
It must be because on the left it's okay to abort at the 9th month point and even after.
I think that's a limited way of thinking about it.
No, Kwaku, you're not. Let's just bypass this subject because you're going to piss me off.
No. So like, I was thinking more recently. I've had this thought that not everything's so left right. So you have like say
not everything, of course not.
No. But
abortion is left right, and you're wrong.
People keep trying to so say for example all leftists believe in climate change. There's also conservatives who believe in climate change as well, because people seem to associate the issues with the groups that are more likely to identify with the issues. And
of course, I understand that.
Yeah. So the thing that I probably am wary of the most with people who go on these sort of like crusades or whatever it is where they think they're right. How would I say this? I need to clarify this. Have you heard the saying, the road to hell is full of good intentions?
Yes.
So
that means I'm going to hell because I'm so full of good intentions.
No. So if when the leftists go out to sort of like target people, they think they're doing a good thing for the world, but obviously everyone thinks you can end up in a very bad situation doing a lot of bad things and not believe and have the best intentions, basically. And my coming back to what I was thinking about earlier with regard to the whole deplatforming, censoring, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, let's go back on subject because we'll have to go soon. Yeah.
Yeah, of people. It is that as you do that, like the socialists and Stalin and stuff, there's obviously a great power and a powerful feeling in being able to control what is acceptable, what isn't, who can be on the platform, who isn't. And as they do, as more people get victimized and have their positions removed in their channels and all that sort of stuff, it obviously creates people who are now like de facto dictators, basically. Do you get the content, like the sentiment, as in someone like say Zuckerberg or something is sitting back being like, "Oh, I can get rid of whoever I want," and that power can go to their head. And now that they've exercised that power so much, it becomes more about what it is. It's like it becomes sometimes they'll get rid of people just out of personal vendettas or things like that.
Absolutely, you're not wrong. It's extremely totalitarian. It's like an authoritarian regime, only it's not a government, but it still affects people worldwide. So it's almost like its own government. It's ridiculous. That's very accurate. And I don't want people on the left to be censored. I actually I want to defend that for them. They're not doing that to us. But I don't want the Peter Graces and I don't want the leftists to be, I don't want that weird idiot on YouTube who's always deleting people. What's that guy's name? That Bearing, Bearing, the Australian YouTuber Bearing. And then there's this guy, that atheist guy with stuff. He's a complete cuck. I forget his name, but that guy has blocked me and I don't even know him. But
Yeah.
I don't want them censored. Just the same way that I don't want people on the far right censored. I don't want anyone censored.
What do you
That's
think?
where I think I'm a lot fairer, I think, than the leftists, and they won't admit that, and that's
We all
fine.
think we're better than our opposition, though. What do you think the solution is?
The solution is, I don't know, cryptocurrency, because eventually PayPal will, and the way PayPal revoked its from Blair Cottrell, I think the same thing will happen to a lot of us who are centrist or right-leaning individuals. So we need cryptocurrency, we need Bitcoin, and we need blockchain technology and the dark internet and alternatives. Let me answer your question, dumbass.
No. I was trying to clarify what you meant. So you said cryptocurrency. Do you mean like just decentralized financing, so that not one or two or three big groups?
Yeah, exactly. So if someone wants to donate to me, and like no one has ever donated to me. Oh no, actually that's not true. The other day I got $200 from Nick Peel. Thank you, Nick Peel. I very much appreciate it.
Shout out to Nick.
Oh yeah, you know Nick Peel, don't you?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, I thought you knew him. Okay, I thought you went to high school together. Sorry, never mind. No, I thought never mind. He knows someone else that you know. It's okay.
Scandalous.
But sorry. Thank you for my $200 and the people that gave to the super chat today. I really appreciate it. It's very nice. But yeah, I think the future of us who but those who feel compelled to talk about faith and Christianity and what's right in the world, even though I'm making mistakes along the way, unfortunately, publicly, is this dark internet. So the left can have their YouTube. They can keep that, because eventually we're going to all end up on a different platform.
Sources? Do you mean like the mainstream? So do you think that it's now going to be like sort of mainstream versus underground?
I think so, but the underground is a lot bigger. It will be a lot bigger anyway, because most people are either apolitical, they don't care about politics.
Yeah.
And then you have the people who are political on the left, and that's a little bit more mainstream, but that's actually a lesser amount of people. And then you have people on the right who is actually statistically a bigger proportion. Majority-wise, there's more people on the right, center to the right, and so it'll appear like we are underground, but actually we'll have the wider audience, and so that's just me predicting. That's just a premonition. I'm not really sure. But you asked me a question. What about you? What's your how do you predict it?
The analysis I've reflected on this, and more recently it seems that it's becoming more fragmented. So I mean, not fragmented, more what do you call it?
Fractured?
Spreading apart. So like in the most recent European elections, the centre parties collapsed pretty much. So there was a lot more hard right winners, and there was also a lot more hard left winners. So it's almost like the centre position is the main. Centrism is just gone. It's almost like
centrism is people who don't know how to make up their mind about a particular position.
I don't agree with that, but okay.
Sorry, I just said that to piss
the
you off.
extremists are more passionate. Don't you reckon? Like you can't be really passionate about like just a little bit of this and that. Like the extremists are always I think it's more like seductive, not seductive, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's easier to listen to a message from someone who's passionate and absolute about everything. Like this is right and that is wrong. And it seems like they're so energetic. So it's much, I think for us, someone who's not well versed on any sort of topic, hearing someone who's really passionately advocating for one side or denouncing the other side is, it's much more interesting than hearing someone go through the rational and sort of be like, oh yeah, it's somewhere in the grey area type of stuff. Yeah.
Well, wait, just before we finish up, I wanted to ask you a question, and I hope it's okay that I ask you this live.
Ooh.
Okay, so you said a moment ago that you are basically for free speech at every level except for flat earthers.
No.
Right?
No.
Okay.
I said
You can see an argument for it, correct? That's what you said.
All the censorship is bad, but I can see the good elements in getting rid of stuff like flat Earth because it's factually incorrect. Yeah.
Okay, so recently, Australian Meditations.
Oh my boy.
Lost his channel, and you apparently put up laughing faces, ha 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 ha, which really pissed him off. You really triggered him because you know he has such a sensitive little soul that evidently that was like you were stabbing his little sensitive dandelion snowflake heart.
And I'll tell you, me and Stephanos have a complex relationship. He always DMs me things that he thinks are racist and offensive.
Maybe he has a crush on you.
Oh, mate, I know for sure.
He's obsessed with you.
Mate, you know, maybe you could work out one day, Stephanos, but I'm not into that stuff yet.
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't tell you this, but I made a video about it, and I very quickly deleted it because I was like, I probably shouldn't have made a video about it. I was acting on emotion, and I deleted it like literally 9 minutes later. Huh?
I've said this to him. I've responded to him. I went, I'm not sure if you're like trolling because it's like he's saying stuff that if you're really sensitive, you'd be offended by. Really, what most people say is really racist harassment and stuff. But at the same time, I'm a bit of a smartass myself, so obviously my instinct is that he's trying to get a rise out of me, so who cares? I'm not that bothered. But it's
but like to send someone a photo of people wearing the KKK outfit is clearly him trying to trigger you. It's a huge level of disrespect, and I'm not for it.
That's not even close to the most offensive stuff he sends me, Mr. Australian.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't really get offended because I don't know.
Because you're not a lefty, and a lefty, you know, you're not a lefty who sucks.
It's just words, though. So for mine, it's like freedom of speech type stuff, freedom of opinion. Yes, if it was public, like say for example, he was attacking.
Well, you could have screenshotted it and put it up on your Facebook page, like someone chose to do that for me. But you're not an SJW.
No, if he was attacking something that I shared with the group, like for example, my blackness as a generalness, in general, publicly, then I'd probably respond, and I'd probably respond very hostile because it wouldn't be just attacking me; it would be attacking vulnerable people who can't respond. So, say for example, you're like a 6-year-old black kid, and you see somebody say, "Oh, black people are bad" or something.
Yeah, then that's evil.
The people who can respond to that should, because that kid can't, and that kid could grow up with some sort of issue about it, or it could actually damage him. So someone personally attacking me, mate, I'm not going to lose sleep on it. Like seriously, like,
it really affected me more. It offended me more that someone would go so actively out of their way to be racist to a friend of mine based on his skin color. I'm like,
he's a troll. He's a troll.
I know. Well, I don't talk to him, so I'm surprised you and him talk. Like, to be honest.
No. So he like he literally just like
he's extremely fake.
Random racist comments to me, and I you know how you can like block people or whatever. It comes up with a message request, and I'm like, I know it's just going to be some random racist thing, but I actually kind of get excited. Like, oh, Stephanos messaging me again. Not excited.
Well, let's encourage it. Stephanos, keep sending him messages because he loves it.
No, I just hope that like it's something creative. So you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You could come up with some sort of comedy racist genius one day or something. But I don't know. It's weird that he has a.
He's a little incel living, in his mother's basement, just trying to, the thing is though, he's so nice to me, but then at the same time, he's such a dick to me. Like when I chose to leave the Angle House Orthodontics, he sends me a message saying, I know someone who can help you. It's all good. Don't worry about it. But the reason I didn't respond and say, thank you very much, that's very nice of you, and this is why I no longer talk to the guy, is because, and I'm not going to be mean to him if I see him in public, I'll be polite. Yeah. But he publicly would write things like "fuck you, bitch, ha ha whore." He would say that on his other 2 accounts. I'm like, okay, so you're being a dickhead to me publicly, but you're being nice to me privately. No, that's just moronic. You either are or.
If you could, this is weird that we're allocated so much time to someone who's so largely
we're finishing up now, and I have a little, and I'm going to let everyone know who my guest is next week. But yeah, sorry, yeah, let's finish up. Go ahead.
I want to put a question to you, and I want to make a very quick comment.
Okay.
If Stephanos, Mr. Australian Meditation, blah, blah, he goes around spewing racial hatred at everyone and trying to be controversial. Do you think he's doing it for attention, or do you think that it's like some deep insecurity or something else? Trying to work out whether...
I think it's a bit of both. I think he actually believes that if a black person and a white person end up together, that's somehow really, really bad. I do believe he believes that. I don't believe that. I'm not there. I'm not on that train. Yeah. And I also think that he has no self-esteem at all because he's 3'2", and
that's harsh.
Yeah.
Don't be heightist.
4'2".
No, do you think so? Do you think it's more like an ideological thing? Is why he's like, for example, like I think when you advertise one of your the discussions we're going to have, all it is like fucking nigger or something is what he puts. Sorry if you're not making any money from that because I said that. I remember seeing that and going like, what? But like, it's not even like offended. It's like this elicits that response from him. Like he's sitting at home like smashing the keyboard. Like I can't believe black people are going to be on the internet or something. It makes no sense. So I was thinking, maybe for mine, he's probably just really insecure. Well, the funny thing is,
Neil was nice to you when you guys spoke on the phone, and Blair was always nice to you. And to be honest, it shouldn't be controversial to say this, but there are things that Stephanos has said that I probably can agree with. That like if he said the sky is blue, and he happens to be far right, I could be like, yeah, he's right. The sky is blue. Just because I can agree with one thing someone says on the left or one thing someone says on the far right, it doesn't make you that, you're not the company you keep. Not that I ever kept. I didn't keep him as company anyway. But like, what he says about Christianity when he defends Christianity, I like that. That's a good thing. But then he taints it. He taints it with how he treats you. I don't like it, and it shits me.
But anyway, for mine, he's like, I hardly ever notice him, and he's actually like DMing me and stuff. It's so weird. But
because he loves you, he's obsessed with you.
I just he said repeatedly for me, he tried to get me to go to his channel. He kept saying, "Look at Australian meditations. Look at my channel." And in my head, I was thinking,
"No, you can't."
I can't even get past the fact that the idea of someone like him. Like he says so much more retard stuff that I won't even waste my time looking at his channel. And he might have really good content. I don't know, but I'll never see it. Who's your next guest?
Alert from system. Who do you think my next guest is?
Is it Jesse Lee Peterson part 2?
Battery monitor. Low battery.
Low battery? Do you have a low battery?
Yeah. Can you hear that notification come up?
Yeah, I heard that notification. Okay. All right. Everyone, next week, my guest is the very beautiful, the very blonde, the very bougie Tammy Candy. Woo! Yeah, Libertarians. Power of the pussy, people. Power of the pussy.
You're just going full retard. Do you know what you're going to discuss?
Tammy Candy and I are going to discuss how much we love Will Joseph.
So
among other things.
Will Joseph.
No, I'm kidding. I mean, that's probably part of our discussion, but we're going to talk about libertarianism. We're going to talk about her education background. We're going to talk about, I don't know, just a series of different things. I think she's generally speaking, I think just right-wing women and women in the movement politically. Yeah, it's going to be.
What do you admire the most about her from far?
Her boobs.
Like, wow. Oh, you're such an idiot. You're such an idiot.
Just how she's been a friend to me. Like, my reputation has not deterred her from seeking me out as a human being and loving me as a person. Like, she's got my back. I've got her back. She's just cool.
Girl power. Stick together.
Girl power.
Yep.
Someone said that I'm in the Illuminati because I was doing this, but it's a triangle. The vagina's like a triangle.
Don't try and defend it. Us Illuminati guys got to stick together. Nah, sorry for the I'm crook today. I'm low.
You are low. It's okay.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Final comment. Have you moved on from this whole the whole leftist attack
the Guardian thing?
Oh yeah, not the Guardian thing, but this whole. If you had to look back at the whole last maybe month or whatever, has it been a month?
I think it's been a month. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm all good. My channel has.
What's the biggest learning from that, or what?
Oh well, I'm not going to go to. I'm not going to.
I don't want you to go through it or anything just yet.
No, that's okay. Yeah, well, look, I stuffed up. I did. I don't know how many times I can acknowledge that.
Oh, sorry. What thing is the biggest thing that you found out? That
I found out? How strong I am emotionally.
Yeah.
That who my true friends are as well. And who like my subs went up because I got Jesse Lee Peterson on recently, and he's a big name. So I'm still pulling. My persistence is still helping me with my channel, and
I was thinking about personal growth style. Like if you could reflect.
I've already said I'm stronger. I realize how strong that I am, and I realize who my true friends are. So yeah, just I suppose my emotional strength and how happy I still can be. I've never ever in my life been suicidal, and I don't think I ever will be, because I'm not mentally wired that way, and I'm not that type of person to think, oh, some people hate me, I have to kill myself. So I'm strong. I'm very strong.
Yeah, I think they're my last comment, I think they're more keyboard warriors than actually hating you, because when I was trying to reflect on all those comments, and there was a lot of them, sorry if you're not aware that the leftists really dislike you, but I was sitting there thinking,
I'm not reading it, so I'm good. I'm living in blissful ignorance.
They can't really believe the things they're saying, so I think it's like a keyboard warrior sort of competition to one up each other.
I'm not an evil person. Like, what's the worst thing I've done? In their opinion, what, my associations? Okay, well, now that I've evolved my associations now, so will that somehow give me a free pass? No, they're going to find something else to hate me for. So it's okay.
I think it's like that lynch mob mentality. But it's good that man, I was thinking about if it was me, I obviously wouldn't respond to it. But it would be quite a weird thing to have a whole group of people publicly criticizing you about stuff. I get private criticism all the time, but I found it really harsh. That was my thing. I was like, that's just, I don't know, it was a bit extra.
Well, what I did read was what you screenshotted to me, and I was like, what's their issue? Like, what am I doing to them? That's okay. That's okay. I don't hate them. I know they hate me. I don't hate them. I wish them well. I want them to be happy, and I want them to be happy away from the space of tribalism. Like, I want them to be like, okay, she believes this. I think she's wrong, but let us try and do what we can in our own space. I'm doing what I can in this space that I'm in right now. I'm trying to talk about Christians and how they're being punished in other countries for their faith. I'm trying to talk about how Islam is bad towards the homosexual community. I'm trying to talk about white South African farmers and how they're being hurt. I'm trying to talk about the immigration problem, which you and I, in some small way, are lending to, which is sort of ironic. But like, I'm trying to talk about these things, and they can do that. They can do that in their own lane, but instead of trying to get in my lane and obstruct it. But I'm not going to do that to them. I'm not going to obstruct their lane.
I did get
do that to me. I won't do that to them.
One of the Brisbane Antifa people as a guest on your show.
I can't invite them because I tried to have two. I've already had two Antifa on my show, former Antifa, and that was hard enough. The former Antifas is just as stupid as the actual Antifas. So it's too difficult.
It's too far. It's too raw.
Yeah, because the ones that think they've come out of it, one's name was Jeremiah Picchiocho or something, and the other guy was Shane Hunter. He was so arrogant. He was so arrogant, saying, you don't actually, technically, you don't know anything. He goes, unless you've sat in a library studying for 6 years, there's no way that you really can have an authority or say on any subject. Well, then why are you on this show with me talking about this? And the audio was so bad. And he said 6 years. Yeah, the audio was disgusting. And I asked him to get out of it and to get back in, and he wouldn't. And then I said to him, I'm not publishing it again. I'm putting it on private because no one can hear. The audio is disgusting. And then Shane Hunter said something like, you're being arrogant. You know that I had good ideas. Everything I said in that chat was fantastic, and you're just trying to hide it. And I'm like, that's not it at all. So then I made him listen to it, and he goes, oh, I apologize. You were right. Like, there's so much arrogance, like even to the former Antifas, there's so much arrogance. So having a real Antifa would be a waste of time. But I did actually text an Antifa in Spain. I assume they speak English, to talk to one of them and have them on my channel. But they didn't respond. But that's okay. I don't want to talk to any Australian Antifas. I don't see the need. They wouldn't come anyway. They wouldn't come on anyway. I'd prefer someone from overseas because I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. I feel like maybe that we could come up with some
racist.
Yes. I only want to talk to Spanish people because I'm racist.
No, I think that if the divide is too far, like you just don't see eye to eye on anything. I don't think that any sort of discussion has any sort of intellectual basis. It's almost like that both they do, and you probably would as well, approach the discussion as in, I'm going to try to make them look bad, or I'm going to try to one-up them.
No, I wouldn't do that. I would love to have an Australian Antifa on my channel. I actually would. But with my experience having the former ones on my channel, that was already too difficult. That was already too ridiculous. So it's like, I'd rather maybe an Antifa, a leftist from another country rather than an Aussie one, because they already have made up their minds about me. I would treat them with the same respect that I'm treating you. I wouldn't even joke with them. Like the way I can joke with you, I wouldn't even try to joke with them because they don't have a sense of humor.
I meant like just generally, the further the divide on opinion, the more
little common ground.
The less likely you're going to have like a good intellectual outcome. Like
I agree.
It's more just like point scoring.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I suppose it's true. Well, anyway, I'll let you go because you're not feeling well.
It wasn't my best live stream, but yeah.
No, thank you so much for coming on. It was a very good discussion. You didn't chew my ear off, and you actually stayed on subject. So well done. When you're sick, you're a much better guest, it seems.
You're ridiculous. Nice. Good chatting. Take care.
All right, and guys, Tammy Candy's on next week. See you later, guys.
Take care.
Bye.